Hello and welcome to Don Ha Business Connect Show. This week, Ruben Griffin from BuddyBit joining us in the studio to talk about what he has on offer.
And we also create a standalone Facebook page for that property. With that, once we've created that Facebook page for that individual property, which vendors love.
Plus Bryson Rangi from Straightline Builders to talk about building sector.
The price of timber is gradually being stepped up. It's a lot of the structural timber suppliers are jumping up in increments of, say, 10% per annum.
And we have a great lineup of properties and projects on offer, not to be missed. Project for the week, we got a special building in Albany. This building is right next to the Ramada Hotel. The Ramada Hotel has opened a few weeks ago. I had the opportunity to visit it, and the accommodation is amazing. 2-bedroom, rent for $275 per night, but because of the Lion Tour events coming on, the manager there has told me they put it up to $675 a night, and they 100% sold out. And they said they could have sold it for more, but they didn't want to. But all their event for the year at the Albany Stadium there, it is all 100% sold out now. And this hotel is only just open within that weekend. So obviously, the tourist sector right now is very strong in Auckland, and right next to the Ramada Hotel, we've got this 18 apartment building. Now, this building here is really unique. You're buying an 18 apartment building only. It's not a building of 50 or 150. It's only 18. Every one of them's got a balcony. You get a 1-bedroom, you get a car park, you get a 2-bedroom, you get a car park. And we got a special right now. We've got a 2-bedroom on the market with a car park, balcony also, and that's for $699,000. Now, only one available at this price. And these apartments will be finished within the next 2 months. So next 2 months come, accommodation sector again is very strong. You could fully furnish this apartment up, and you can also put on book a bench to rent per night, so you can get quite a high return. The meter rate for these apartments is still very, very good. The price is like $699 for 74 square meter with a car park. Well, if you go down the road, you can see what they're on the market at. You go to the central CBD, it'd probably be around $1 million for the same thing. So $699,000, only one available, and we've got some other ones as well that's available, meaning the Chua Key, that's like home and income in the sky. 2 apartments in one title, 1 studio on one side with its own kitchen, own power meter, a 1-bedroom on the other side, with a lounge, separate lounge with its own power meter. You can rent both sides out for about $400 on one side and $450 on the other side. And that's on the market for $749,000. So if you're looking at home and income, you're looking at living on one side and let somebody else pay 40% your mortgage, then you buy the Chua Key apartments. So give myself a call or my team a call. We'll be on site on Saturday and Sunday at 12 to 2 at certain weekends. So just give us a call. We'll let you know when we'll be on site, or we can meet you on site and show it to you. And joining me now in the studio is Ruben Griffin from BuddyBit. Ruben, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Look, you guys got this amazing technology that I happen to see that you present to our company. And I'm not the sort of guy that gets sold on technology very easy, but I was so impressed with it. So can you tell us a bit more about what your company does?
Yeah, so we're a software company based out of Auckland City. What we've effectively built is software for real estate agents that installs inside of your business Facebook page, allows you to get all of your listings, automatically list them inside of Facebook, and then you run vendor paid campaigns, getting a property that you have for sale and pushing that out to people, local residents who are most likely to buy.
So before we go to that part, I'd like to backtrack a little bit about the company, how it was set up and how the idea was working and the number of staff there, number of staff now, because this is quite an amazing startup tech company to me. Yeah,
so we've been around since inception about 4 years. Most of our background is in retail. It was effectively lots of big companies were spending lots of time and money in social media to try and lots of people were following them there, but they couldn't turn them into business. And we built software that allowed auctions and purchases inside of Facebook, which allowed us to pull lots of data out and squeeze a new revenue stream for lots of retail and data companies like Fairfax and Flybuys and Wine Market owned by Woolworths in Australia. And that was really successful. But we really hit the nail on the head about 6 months ago when we moved into automating campaigns and listings for real estate agents.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your success is one of the biggest group in Australia right now. The McGrath Group is actually signing up for your product.
Yep, so we've got all of McGrath Corporate on board, and we're rolling out across, they've just made their 100th office, so rolling out across all of those branches and giving this as a tool to all of the agents to effectively put into their vendor pack, and now they have social media as a story they can
So that's
sell.
a pretty good Auckland company go to Australia and win one of the biggest contracts. Why did you decide to go to Australia first instead of here?
They're hurting a lot more. It's a few $100s to list inside of TradeMe in New Zealand, and listing inside of domains and REA in Australia is $3,000, $4,000 on average. So they were looking for alternatives, and they knew Australia's a couple of years ahead of us in terms of social media usage, just in general. So allowing them to use that medium to sell properties and
I
find
met John
buyers.
McGrath about 20 years ago when he did his first conference, the ERIC conference.
Yep.
He had 400 people. Now it's getting 4,000 people coming in May coming up. And he was the first guy that come on the market to auction this property on the net. He was the first guy. He started his company up when in the garage. He was 19. He's a huge success story, and he's always want to be one step ahead of everybody on social media, internet.
He's not shy.
Yeah, so I know John really well, and I just thought if John signs up for your service, and then when you come to us, you present our meeting, and I wasn't there, so I just thought, nah, forget it. I don't want to know. And then I thought I'd ask you to come back in and you present it to me, this product. And I must admit, I was so on it, and I just thought, okay, I want to sign up because if John signs up, I want to sign up. But also, I want to be ahead of social media. I want to be instant to the consumers about my product and services. So, can you explain about the product that when we list a property, and this is the part that sold to me. So, can you explain when we list the property, and you develop this platform, what does it do?
So all a real estate agent has to do is get the thumbs up from a vendor to run a Facebook campaign. They tick the box in Campaign Track, or if we integrate with realestate.co.nz's feed, that listing data comes through to us. We list that property inside of that agent's business Facebook page, as well as the branch and corporate page if they're signed up. And we also create a standalone Facebook page for that property. With that, once we've created that Facebook page for that individual property, which vendors love, they can add all the videos and native maps and events and things that people really like. But it means that we can then create ads automatically and push it out to local residents.
So that sounds all very, very good and very convenient. But for an agent, not all real estate agents are techno savvy, including myself. So are you saying that once you have the technology, the app set up, are you saying that we push the button once and then everything will be set up for you? From there it goes to, say, TradeMe, realestate.co, all the ads are done for us. We just push it one button?
Yep. So the same way as you add TradeMe to the marketing schedule and realestate.co.nz to the marketing schedule, you'll add Facebook or via BuddyBid to the marketing schedule.
Right.
Just a ticker box, that comes through to us. We run the entire campaign. We iterate along the way to squeeze as many inquiries and reach out as possible, and then give you a really crisp report to put in front of the vendor.
And we don't do any more work for that? Nope. There's no more work? You guys do all the work behind the scenes?
We send you an email with the report to put in front of the vendor to show you your results. But long term, it becomes really interesting. You get, say you run 20 campaigns, you've effectively, using vendor paid funds, marketed all of those properties, but you've also identified people who are highly responsive to property related marketing at the moment. And we've tagged all of those people. Might be 100 people, 200, 300 people per campaign. But after that, you've got 4,000, 5,000 people who you know, based on nothing other than their behaviour, that they're in the market in the next couple of months to buy and sell.
And that data comes to the agent?
So it's an audience. It means that you can then advertise yourself to just that audience.
Okay.
It's not a list of leads.
Right.
It's knowing who's being highly responsive to real estate marketing.
But once the audience comes to you for the inquiry, you can market back to the audience again?
Yep. So you can say, here's properties we just sold, and only push it out to those 5,000 or so people properties up for sale, charity things that we've just done. Here's how we're different. Here's why to do business with us. Sharply focused vendor offers.
And what's the Facebook? People say, oh, Facebook had its days, but in fact, more and more people are getting on Facebook now. You got the stat on about people how much time they spend on Facebook?
69.5% of the New Zealand population has a Facebook account.
Wow.
And on average, close to an hour a day is spent inside of Facebook, and most of that is on a mobile.
Okay.
So if it's not mobile friendly, it is irrelevant. But Facebook is about 80% of all the minutes spent inside of social media.
Does all the employees spend time at work at Facebook because like, for example, right now in our office, we actually block Facebook.
Yep.
But now we have to reverse the role. Now we've got to not unblock Facebook now because everybody's on Facebook, and all our agents are saying like, hey Don, if you block Facebook, how are we going to advertise on Facebook? So all of a sudden we have to reverse our thinking now.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a huge amount of attention there, but if you don't know what you're doing, you can waste a lot of time and money. Which is how our solution fits in really nicely. It's a push of a button. You don't need to know what you're doing, but if you do look into the specifics of it, you know that budget is used very, very efficiently, and not just as a one-time exercise. The more you do it, the smarter those campaigns become, because you're getting more and more data that you as an agent, you as a branch, corporate own.
And what is your setup cost right now?
$3,500.
Okay.
As a one-time white label setup.
Yeah.
And so if you want custom integrations, then that's fine. So that's for a branch.
Yeah.
But as for an agent, it's $37 a month as a recurring subscription. And if you want to run a vendor-paid Facebook marketing campaign, it's $250 plus GST.
That's like a special feature sort of product or option.
So you don't have to be signed up with a subscription to be able to use the product.
Okay.
But if you are signed up with a subscription, it means that all of the data that we capture along the way sticks to your account, and then you can use it in the future.
How are you finding the take up so far?
Really good. What's been quite interesting is what we've built is a really good tool for the majority of agents. There are 20% of agents who really don't like social media, don't understand it, are really sticking with traditional forms. There's 5% of real estate agents that are really, really clued up. They know Facebook digital marketing like the back of their hand, and they want the customization where they can do all of those really custom campaign features themselves. But for everyone else, if you want to save time, want to save money, it's a tick of the box.
How do you, have you got any stats on print media versus social media now or internet? I know the print media is getting smaller and smaller by the day. We're thinking up now, even we choose our media ads now.
It's been quite interesting. We haven't really had to go and prove the value of social media to agents. They know that the attention has shifted. They know that print and traditional mediums are really expensive. They know that they're really difficult to track and figure out what worked, what didn't work. But what we're doing is all completely trackable. It's all transparent. You can see what worked, what didn't work, and it's not. Well, it's your brand going out. It's completely controlled by your brand.
Well, I'm really looking forward to see our rollout on social media, and I think a lot of people on Facebook already seen me on Facebook. I'm looking forward to more and more of it. So, look, congratulations on a great product. I wish you all the great success with your company, and then, go for world domination.
That's the plan. It should be fun.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Cheers. And this week I got a new segment on business setup. Now, a lot of people want to set up a business, but they don't know what to do. Because if you lease a building and you want to set up your business, and most of the time you don't know what to do, most of the time you get things wrong. And when you get things wrong, you open your business up, the council come and say, well, you haven't got a permit for this, you haven't got a permit for that, you've got to shut down. and it costs you a lot of money. So we're now going back to the building in Papatoi 328 Great South Road, for example. If you're looking at set up a building, this is what you have to do, because we set up an office there right now. So the first thing you need to do is you need to engage an architect that's specialized in office fit out. So in our office, for example, we got an architect to design our office for us. Now to do that, he has to do his fire engineer calculations, air conditioning distributions, office draw ups, make sure all the airflow is right, and then also get a traffic report also, because there'll be more people coming to the area. Now all of this information has to be compiled together, and then has to submit to council. Now it might look very simple. You can see the plan here on the screen that I'm going to show you. It looks quite a simple setup, but if you don't have that, and also you got to have special toilet access, and also ventilation out of the toilet as well. If you don't have that, then the council will say, well, you can't open the business because it's not, the Health and Safety Act is not complying. Therefore, they'll come and they'll shut your business down. So if you do it the right way, you got to pay an architect a fee, and it could cost you $10,000 to $20,000. You submit a permit, council approves your permit, then you go and get a special guy to fit it out according to the plans that the council wants. Now, once that's finished, council will come down and inspect the premises to make sure they do the right fit out. They'll issue you a code compliance certificate to say that you comply, and then that's when you get into business. Now, next door we have a bakery and cafe, for example. We have to do the same thing. We have to draw the plan up, we have to put where the ovens are, where the sinks are, and where the extractor fan will go when all the cooking comes. It will go outside the building. And then we also have to build storage facilities, counters, and special sort of like drainage system, so that when you wash a lot of the grease down, where does that go? So you can't just simply go and get a shop and then just say, I'm going to open up a business and put a kitchen in. It doesn't work that way anymore. What you find is you cost yourself a lot more money if you don't do it the right way up. So my advice to you is the first thing you do is to get a proper licensed architect who specialises in, say, office fit out, and another guy who specialises in bakery cafe fit outs. You engage them, they'll provide all the special consultants, and you get it right from day one. And that is how you'll set a proper business up. And joining me now is Bryson Rangi from Straightline Builders. Bryson, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Don.
What does your company do?
So we're predominantly in the villa and bungalow restoration division within Auckland. We'll be contracted to restoring 100 to 100 plus year old homes throughout Auckland City. So,
wow.
Yes.
How long does it take to do a job like that?
It varies within from contract to contract, but generally the villa and bungalow is a lot slower, and obviously a different kettle of fish when it comes to contracts as in regards to, say, as new build. But they could look towards being upwards of 12 months.
So what does people do to those bungalows?
Well, the
outside looks the same, right?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing with the bungalows, that quite often you'll find they've got a heritage title attached to the property.
Yeah.
So from there, a lot of the works will be internal rather than external. So we'll look towards coming in and future-proofing a lot of these older homes, which means we're targeting insulation, full pre-wires, and just depending on the client whether or not we stick with the era of the house, or else we modernise the property throughout.
How often does those bungalow needs repiling?
Each bungalow is different depending on the soil that we're building on. So throughout Auckland, we've got a mixture of clay, volcanic rock. Everything's kind of varied. So it all just depends on where the substrate lies and whether or not there's been slumping over time.
So most people with those bungalows, say in Remuera, Parnell, St Heliers, do they add on extra bathrooms, more rooms,
yes,
new ceiling, new roof?
What we tend to find is that, obviously with a heritage home is that we'll have the shell, but within that shell we'll create a blank canvas so that we can reposition all of our walls to cater for more open plan living, which is obviously what Kiwis are about, is trying to create a lot more indoor-outdoor flow and big, large spans within internal rooms.
And what sort of cost would it cost wise for, I don't know, job ranging from, say, I don't know, farm to? How much would it cost?
Well, every contract, obviously, you know, with these smaller bungalows and villas, they can kind of range from, you know, generally some of the smaller renovations will be around the 500,000 mark, and then they work their way up to, depending on whether or not, you know, if we can keep with the existing substrate or if we go down into the basement, it kind of works its way up from there price-wise. So you can see some of these renovations getting up to the between the $1 and $2 million price range.
So it's almost like building a new house.
Yep. It's actually a lot more complex than the new build, in the sense that it's, you know, quite often easier to be able to work with just a work from the ground up, whereas we're trying to, well, we are looking towards working with what we've got, and quite often you'll find if the house has walls that's slightly out of plumb and everything, we're needing to re-straighten internal walls and bring it up to what you could class as, well, today's spec, more or less.
When you pull these bungalows, these 100-year bungalow walls out, or you dig the ground up, do you find any money hidden behind these walls? Or
we haven't found any gold bars as yet. No, we're still waiting for that day.
Okay.
But we definitely do find some interesting bits and pieces. You know, we're digging into foundations where there's all sorts of, I wouldn't say artifacts, but there's bits and pieces that have been enclosed in cavities of walls for the last 100 years, and all sorts of, aging back to the last contractors that were on site. So, and quite often we'll find when we strip a wall out that there'll be 3 or 4 layers of renovation.
Right.
So we may strip into a wall, and there'll be four different layers of wallpaper, which kind of works its way right back to Hessian, which was more or less the turn of the century.
Wow.
Product they used back then.
And you guys part of Master Builder?
Yes, we are.
And how many people on your team?
We've got around about 15, 16 at the moment.
Well, that's a big team.
Yeah, no, it is. We've got we've more or less worked with the same crew. We try not to chop and change too much. We've got our base crew, and so everyone kind of knows where, you know, we all know each other's working capabilities, and everyone kind of meshes in quite well throughout the site, and that's where we find the jobs are a lot more seamless throughout the contract.
And how are you finding now with this current market that, you know, tradesmen are so hard to find? How do you find your trades guys that work for you? Yep.
So that comes down to just relationships, really, and making sure that we're making it easier on the contractor, and also prompt payments as well. You know, there's some people that may be paying on the 20th of each month, or so we try and make sure that these guys are, we get them the invoicing done as fast as possible, which means it gives us a bit of leverage going forward.
And you're moving into the new builds now. You bought some land up us in Mangere Bridge and Kirkby Road there. You're looking at building some of these houses in the next few months?
Yep. So we've got the architect. We're working in. I'm working in with Michael Cooper at the moment, our architect, and he's. So we're looking at the internal structure and the way that all the beams and the build's going together, rather than landing a plan and then working from there. So we're right in there at our design stage.
And tell me about these houses. They 4-bedroom, 2 bathrooms?
They're 4-bedroom units. We've got a series of duplexes, but the way that they've been designed is that they do look standalone rather than more terraced homes. So it's all about, although the spaces we're working with around the 230, 240 square metre mark, we're still managing to design a unit that's that has still got all the main attributes of like a good sized home.
So these lands are ready to build on in about June, July. When would the buyer expect to get their house if you were start in July, say?
We're looking at a three-month turnaround on the build. So, you know, from the day we'd be looking towards around October, November. And we're tying all of the builds in one lot. So we've got.
And is building cost of building material now going upwards still?
Yep, we're finding that where the price of timber is gradually being stepped up. It's a lot of the structural timber suppliers are jumping up in increments of, so, say, 10% per annum.
Okay.
And we've just found a lot of the LVL timber beams, which is all the structural beams, have just jumped up by another, will be jumping up by 7% in May. So it's good to get in early while we've got these price.
And we got 3 of these houses on the market on special at $795 for the first 3 buyers to come and sign up. At $795 because they're normally $849. You still honouring that deal?
Yes, we are. Yep, we'll be definitely honouring that deal going forward.
Great.
And now that all of our working drawings are well underway, the client will be able to get a bit more of an insight into what's going to be spec'd into the homes also.
So you're building houses there for yourself on your own land, but say the neighbouring guys got about 3 or 4 sections themselves, and they said, "Hey, you guys building a house next door? Can you build for me what you provided services for?"
Absolutely, yep. Well, we're going to be within the Kirkbride area for a while, obviously doing our own builds.
Yeah.
So that's going to give us access and flexibility around keeping everything all tied in around that area for a while. And we'd definitely be keen to look towards other ventures there. Or
Cool. Well,
contracts.
look, I'm looking forward to work with you in the next few months, and good luck with your business. And looks like you guys are making big waves in the industry with your renovation and your new build. So, yeah, all the best. Thanks for coming.
Excellent.
On the show.
Thank you, Don.
Cool. Cheers. The millionaire's tip for the week. Well, some of you in the very beginning of the show, I talk about some very basic millionaire's tip. But now let's just say if you were one of these clients who's got joint incomes, you've got one home, well, this is where you now have to go and buy a second home. And I know it's a struggle to buy a second home because your finance might be a bit tough and things like that, but go to the bank, say, I want to buy a second home that's worth around $500,000-600,000 for rental investment, and then see what the bank will tell you. The bank will say, wow, look, you already paid your home off, well, then don't buy one home, buy 2 homes instead, because the bank will decide that if your income and your borrowing criteria will meet the bank's criteria or not. So don't think that you can't afford it. Don't think you're taking on a risk. No, the bank will decide if you're risking them or not, because by the end of the year, you are borrowing money from the bank. They'll do all that analyze for you. Now, if you go to the bank will say, well, look, you've got $750,000 borrowing with us already. Your equity now is 30%. You can't buy any more property. You've got to wait for another couple of years for the equity increase. Please come back to us by then. Well, then that's the best thing. They'll teach you to be patient. They'll teach you to be frustrated. That means you're saying that, wow, I can't buy another house, or you get frustrated and say, how do you deal with your frustration when you can't get ahead? Well, this is where you choose to say, I'm giving up. Well, I'm going to say, no, I'm not frustrated. This is the best opportunity. I'm going to go get me another job so I can get more income, or I might get a partner in that can buy this property with me, and in the next 2 years, the equity goes up, my partnership can go back to where it is, then that is one more step of going forward to become a millionaire. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have got some great tips out of the show. See you again next week, and until then, make sure your business is working for you and don't be afraid to take action.